What's up, beautiful peeps? I am here. Just going to wait for a couple of you guys to jump on. Those of you who are joining us from replay, welcome. I have a very, very important, very important topic of conversation that I really wanted you to get. For those of you who are stuck in transitional anxiety or relationship limbo, I'm here. I just want to let you know I'm here with my buddy Alex. I'm here with George and Jen. We're all here and we're just chilling over lunch and we're having a very interesting conversation. And this live broadcast has been inspired by one of the client calls that I had just a couple of days ago. There was a woman who literally was on the brink of breaking up with her husband of 10 years. And she was ready to go. She's like, I'm done. I'm ready to call it quits. She was calling me because, together, please. Together. Yeah, thank you. She was calling me because of the fact that, she's ready to call it quits. And she wants to make the move, but not feel guilt, not feel shame, not feel, make a clean break. He was having a lot of mental issues and he's having breakdowns and he's not really living to his potential. And the love between them was kind of going downhill. Now, it's funny because for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr.Nima Rahmany. I've been a chiropractor for the past 16 years, and now I have, hey, what's up? Vera Vanessa. By the way, please let me know where you're signing in and tuning in from because it's really important that we get this message out. For those of you, I got it right now. For those of you who, it's really critical for you to get this information because if you're in a relationship limbo and you're stuck and you don't know which way to go. I've been in that situation before. I've helped people with stress-related disorders and I've discovered that the root cause of stress-related disorders from all of my patients throughout my years in chiropractic, when I got to know them and I got to know their stories, there was something relational going on. So slowly but surely I discovered that, as a coach helping people with stress-related problems, I had to really understand and delve into the root cause of them, which was why relationships weren't working. And so in that journey, I had to look at my own life. And you got to take this with a grain of salt because I didn't start out wanting to be a relationship expert, but I help people with stress-related problems. So when they come to see me and they have relationship limbo and their transitional anxiety, either they're just got a divorce or they are thinking about divorce and they don't know which move to make and they're feeling stuck and they're feeling anxiety about it and they feel like they want to hide or they want to sedate themselves or perhaps you're feeling like you want to keep pretending or keep bitching and pissing and moaning about it with your friends but not really dealing with the real issues, or perhaps you've gone to counselors trying to resolve this issue. This live broadcast was inspired by this gal who just she wants to call it quits. And she called me because she wants to do it without any guilt. She wants to make a clean break. He's got his issues. She just wants to own her power. She's living incongruently because outside she's this really powerful, badass, she gets shit done. But at home, she's not being real. She's not being congruent. And she's just had it. She's just ready to move on. And so what she wanted from me was, help so that I could actually, help make that transition and it not hurt so much. And so what I discovered was that I wanted to share with her. I didn't get an opportunity to share with her because she was kind of like inquiring about it, not really sure which direction she wanted to go. She was indecisive about actually taking action to resolve things. And I got to thinking, I wish I was told certain things before I got divorced, before I made the choice in my relationship to leave my partner, to leave my wife, maybe 5 years ago. I wish that somebody had told me a few things. So there's a few things that I wanted to share with you right now to help you kind of make that transition. And before you make that leap, before you take that jump, before you decide to end it, there's a few things that you got to know because there's a fantasy that if things aren't working right now, that when you break up, that everything, you're going to have your freedom and then you can be that badass version of yourself. What you don't get before this, and what nobody told me before the divorce, was that be prepared to have all of your friends divided completely. Some on team spouse, some on team you. So I did not know, and I wasn't prepared. And I wish somebody told me that when I made that decision, that prepare to lose half of your friends. Okay? Possibly. Prepare to lose half of your friends, number one. You might be thinking, no, I got my girlfriends, I got my guy friends, we're good, we're tight, it's all good. But now prepare also to actually bore the shit out of everybody around you, talking about all of your problems over the next 6 months to a year, where everybody's going to be holding space and you're going to be deep in your crap. You're going to basically be pulling everybody around you down to the point where everyone's like, oh gosh, is it my turn to babysit Nima? Is it my turn to babysit Nima? To the point where my friends were like, okay, Nima, like I'd like to hang out with you and not have to deal with like all constantly. You're going through a mess of emotional charge, and having you be sad and depressed and the topic of conversation constantly being on what's not working. It's really draining on your social life. Okay, number two, there's going to be an incredible amount of guilt and an amount of guilt and shame and feelings of failure. Okay, prepare to understand that when you're going through this, there's the reason why I'm sharing this with you, because when you're going through that, prepare to experience extreme amount of guilt and shame. Let me know if you've been divorced or you've been going through this. Please tap some love, give me some hearts or likes, or tag somebody that you know that really needs to hear this. Also, prepare to have all of the friends around you, everybody, and this might be okay with you, but I'm just going to get you prepared before you make that leap. Just be prepared for everybody to be giving you their opinion. So everybody's going to be talking, and they're going to be either, condoning what you're doing and supporting you, or they're going to be thinking that you're the villain. So you're going to be the hero to some and the villain to others. Prepare for that. So you think that just moving on and there's going to be this immense sense of freedom, but it's not necessarily the case. There's going to be a lot of people throwing shade about you and your role in it. They're going to be making their judgments and their opinions. Is that okay with you? And are you prepared for that? If you are, great. You want to make that move. But there's a few things. The other thing that was really challenging for me when I was listening was that she hadn't really spoken. They know things aren't working. There's a lot of fighting going on, and there's a lot of breakdowns, which are normal in a lot of relationships, especially as they're going downhill. But if there's no truth, no integrity restoration, no conversation that's actually happened that allows you to own your part, then there's no chance, then there's no way for you to, you're not actually being fair to your partner. So what's required before you make that leap, there's a few things that you need to do in order to be able to either come back together strongly or make a powerful conscious uncoupling where you both can do it in a way where, you could be friends. You could still be friends and do that. But what's required, number one, you got to have a connection to your purpose. First thing is you got to do. There's 3 or 4 things that you need to do. Thing number one is you need to be connected to a purpose. You got to know what your life is all about. Most times, relationships will break down if you don't have this part right. You don't know why you're here, so you don't really have a purpose beyond the relationship. And the relationship, there's you, there's that other person. The relationship is a third entity outside of you, much like a business, a corporation can be, that has an entity of its own that requires a purpose. So if you don't know what your purpose is, your partner doesn't know what their purpose is because they haven't really done the work on it, then we can't really create a purpose for the relationship. When things aren't working, you think, this isn't the right one. I'm just going to go find somebody else where I can be more romantic and get the spark back and all of that. So you definitely need to have a purpose. When you get this right, you'll be surprised. You have an ability to see things in your relationship as on the way rather than in your way. Because consider the possibility that what's causing the breakdown is that you're not really connected with your soul purpose. And you can't see, or you haven't done the work to be able to link your partner to that. And what we've done, one of the great things that we were able to do with one of the partnerships that came into my program to work, they were basically ready to call it quits. Okay, completely ready to call it quits, and just fed up to here. And what we did was we connected this gal to her purpose. She's a business person, she's a housewife, she's a mother, and just like, I'm up to here, I'm ready to call it quits. We got her connected to a cause, a mission, a purpose. Then what happened was, as they would have breakdowns, she now was able to see her husband as being on the way. And whenever breakdowns were happening, she would sit back and reconnect to that purpose and then do the work on it and then resolve. And then the arguments and the fighting and then the bickering that happens, we're able to jump to the next level without a purpose. And now what's happened, I just had a chat with her today, they're stronger than they've been in a long time, and they've recommitted back into their relationship. Okay, and when they started, it was like, I'm ready to call it quits. Okay, so number one, you got to have a cause or a purpose. Number two, that is required before you leave your relationship and before you get a divorce. Tell me if this resonates with you. Please, in the comment section, please tap some hearts, some love. Share this with someone. Engage with me if you can. If I'm reaching out with you and reaching out to you and connecting with you here. The second thing that's important is, before you divorce, before you leave, you got to do the necessary work to clear the resentment and the regrets in your own life. See, resentment is like taking poison and expecting the other person to die. And we have tools. I created the overview method, which helps people uncover what the root cause of their resentment is, the trigger, the meanings and the interpretations that we make out of it, and then action steps in order to resolve and dissolve the resentment. Because if you're making a decision and breaking apart because of resentment, which is why divorces happen, then you're missing out on an opportunity to actually see your part in the equation. Okay? So this reminds me of one of my clients, Michelle, who, when she first called me, her and her husband were living in separate parts of the house. And she's like, I'm ready to be done. And the resentment had built so much that she was having digestive issues, inflammatory bowel. She couldn't eat certain foods, constant stomach pain. So we got to work. Mission statement. We started working with her, clearing the resentment slowly. And then she started owning up to her part of it, and then restoring that and getting into communication with him. And then within 3 months, they were back together, and their relationship now is stronger than ever. And when the breakdowns happen, they have the tools to get back in alignment. See, if the relationship is out of alignment with your common purpose and you're holding on to resentment, then breakdowns will happen, and naturally there's love lost, and there's a breakdown in the love and affinity, and the only solution is you want to just leave, thinking that you're going to get a better deal somewhere else and the grass is greener somewhere else. Whereas when you go to the next person, you're going to actually have to go through the exact same process. And I'm not saying not to divorce. I'm just saying don't do it unless you do these steps first. Does that make sense? Okay? On the way instead of, thank you, Deb. Absolutely, I appreciate that. So I'm not saying not to divorce. Sometimes it's absolutely critical, but I'm saying don't do it without these steps. Number one, create a mission statement for yourself. Number two, do the work at clearing the resentment. Number three, and this is the most important part, consider the possibility that the reason why your relationship breakdown is happening is because you're holding on to lies. You're holding on to inauthenticities, half-truths, and you're not speaking, and you're not in conversation, and you're just holding it in. And these lies are breaking down the fabric of the relationship because there's no authenticity, there's no truth. And it's scary to tell the truth. And I get it. Every single person that I work with, they're on the brink of divorce and they're in relationship limbo because of lies. So one of my clients he called me and he's like, we're done, we're divorced. I just want to find myself again. This is my ex-wife. He was calling her my ex-wife. I'm like, hold on a second. Before, there's no rush here. Before we go, just take it easy. Let's unpack this. And so what happened is we unpacked the resentment, and he got into communication and held space for both himself and his ex-wife, he called her, to tell the truth. And she was holding on to a lie for about 6 months to a year. And this lie was breaking down her everything. It was breaking down her mindset and creating resentment and guilt within herself. And because of that guilt, drama was being stirred up. And then lo and behold, naturally, she wants a divorce. She actually didn't want a divorce. she wanted to tell the truth. She wanted to be somewhere where she could be real. And consider the possibility that there are certain lies that you're holding on to in your relationship that they're not, that you've been holding on to, and in fear of rejection. You're not going to say it because you're afraid of being rejected. And because of those, and you're holding and withholding the truth, you're creating this anxiety and you're attributing it to your partner, not realizing that you potentially could be the cause of breaking down that wall between you and restoring the love. The truth will set you free, but first it might piss you off. And do not consider divorce or breaking up until you've told the truth. And all cards are on the table and open. Do not do that. I wish that somebody had told me all of these before I decided to leave, because there were I wasn't connected to a mission statement. I was, drowning in resentment, and I was lying. I was telling a bunch of lies. I was holding on to a bunch of lies because I was too afraid to tell her the truth. And in that case with my client, they restored and they told the truth, and it was a big breakdown, 2 or 3 days of upheaval, but within 30 days, they got back together, and their relationship is actually stronger than ever. I see them on Facebook, traveling the world, making a huge impact on the planet, and I'm quite proud every time I see them. And all that was missing was they went from divorce, which basically would have cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. In your case, what would a divorce cost you? Hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, millions. One of my clients, I asked him, I said, what would a divorce cost you? He said $100 million. So he jumped in and started working with me because the impact of the breakdown of that relationship would be too great, other than whereas the alternative would be to eat some humble pie and do some work and look in the mirror and to uncover the truth and get connected to a mission statement and clear some resentment. So we're hard at work doing that, because this hard work is worth it. And I don't want to see people going through the amounts of loss, hundreds of thousands of dollars of loss, breakdowns of relationships and friendships, anxiety, depression, moving, loss of money because you got to move, the bitterness, not only that, just the bitterness and resentment towards somebody that you made a commitment to. I committed to this person, and I broke that commitment because I wasn't willing to do the work. I gave up too soon because I wasn't willing to do the work, and I wasn't, the final step, I wasn't willing to hire and invest in a mentor, in somebody who's been through what I've been through. Now, here's the cool part about this. I'm not a marriage counselor at all, but I'm a guy who specializes in helping people with stress-related disorders, who's been through a divorce himself, who's actually gone through the darkness, who's experienced like the worst possible case scenario, a tragedy of any relationship. It's kind of like, some people call it a rite of passage. I called it the worst tragedy of my life at the time. And so I'm committed to helping people avoid that if possible. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't divorce. I'm saying don't divorce unless you have done these things first. It's worth it. And it's worth it for you. Number one, create a mission statement that's congruent with your highest values. Number two, make damn sure that you've cleared the resentment. Number three, yeah, absolutely, Alex, focusing on the mission creates a context that allows Jennifer and I to do the right things because trust each other, to stand for, express our truth instead of trying to please each other. Absolutely. The mission for the relationship. Start that off. Clear the resentment. Number three, restore integrity by telling the truth of where your lies have been. And the last one, number four, is invest in a mentor. When you get this right, somebody who knows the underlying root cause of the problem, who will stand for you, the commitment that you've made, and who won't buy into your stories or try to be your support worker. Because the worst thing you can do to just go through all of your friends looking for support, getting that temporary high, and then feeling miserable when you don't get that, and then just starting to have all of these relationships with all these different women or men, just trying to cover up what's empty inside, or what's empty inside is because you're not willing to actually look at your own goddamn self. You're not willing to face the truth within yourself. You're not willing to do the work. And I went through it all. I was like, damn, I'm so glad to be over this shit. I'm going to go have sex with as many women as possible. I would get myself into relationships with all these women to numb the pain of the divorce because I didn't want to look at myself, because I didn't want to do the work. I didn't want to invest in myself. And I ended up costing me, hundreds of thousands of dollars, where if I just took the time and the energy and just stopped, waited, and did those steps and invested in a mentor who understood where I was coming from, absolutely, I would have had a completely different outcome. I would have saved myself a hell of a lot of hassle. I would have saved myself a hell of a lot of money. One of my clients who came and said, how much would a divorce cost? He said, they were just starting off. It was like, it's going to cost me about $150K. And she had cheated on him. And I said, look, my job is not to get you guys back together. They were separated at the time. I said, my job is to get you aligned with who you are, and then just get back and just uncover the lies, restore the lies, clear the resentment. What happens afterwards. So you might actually split up afterwards and decide it's the best thing for you. Great, fantastic. I'm all for it. Yay. At least you've done the work first. At least you actually did what was necessary. And what's necessary is a mission statement that's greater than yourself, clearing the resentment, telling the truth and restoring integrity. And number 4, investing in a mentor. Don't do it alone. And don't find somebody who's going to be your support worker who's just trying to make you right, because there's no growth in being right. You got to find somebody who's willing to get in your face and call you out on your bullshit stories so that you can grow. Because that's the purpose of marriage. It's not to make you happy. It's to help you grow. And so when I got that, I'm finally getting that. And so what's happened is it's just kind of by default, all of my clients, I see chiropractors who come to me who are lacking purpose. We look in and there's a breakdown in the relationship. I see naturopaths who are feeling depressed. I see yoga instructors and nutritionists who they just want to, get on and lead and clear their imposter syndrome. And it turns out the incongruency they're living with is the one in their relationship. So what I do is I just help people. What I realize is what I do is I help people get their purpose and relationships in alignment. Because when your purpose and relationships are in alignment, you see them as on the way, you're able to handle the breakdowns, and you can then learn from the breakdowns rather than living in this fantasy world that I'm going to find somebody who's never going to challenge me, who's always going to agree with me, who's always going to be nice and never mean and always kind and never cruel and all this bullshit fantasy. I'd rather create a real relationship and be at cause and help people be at cause for authentic relationships, which sometimes it's not pretty, but at least you get the tools to be able to create it. So please let me know, has this been useful for you? Thank you, Melissa, for tagging. Send some love, some hearts. Please reach out. If you, I'm going to leave this right here. If you, I'm going to write this out here, powerfullyaligned.com. Go ahead, and if you, I'm going to leave this up here for you right now. And I'm going to basically say, if you are stuck in career or relationship limbo and you're considering divorce and you just want to have a conversation, there's no charge for this. But here's the key, okay? Hey, Dee, God bless you. Oh, my goodness, you remind me, working with you, you're at that point where you were in a disconnect. And Dee, you went through all of these steps and you came out on the other side, aligned and connected with your purpose, and it's been great. It's been great working with you, hon, and it's been amazing. Working with people like you, it's the reason why I love doing what I do, to see the results, and then when we meet in the workshops and then seeing you in person, it's like your family, right? So this appointment is for you if you are considering a breakup, and a breakup is too costly for you, for the children, for the finances, why don't you share your experience, Dee, as far as going through all of these steps, what it was like for you? I'd love to hear, love to hear from you what it was like. This meeting is not for everyone. It's not for you to call me up and get on the phone. Love you too, hon. Not for me to call me up, get on the phone and make him wrong and just bitch and piss and moan about how miserable she is or he is. I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in talking to you about you, what it's bringing up for you, the past resentments and regrets that you haven't really cleared, what the divorce is going to cost you as far as socially, financially, emotionally, your health, All of that. Christina, God bless you. You're the real deal, learning to reveal the truth not only about your marriage, but also yourself. Absolutely. Christina, you went through this process too. You wanted to sit there, piss and bitch and moan about about a relationship where all I was interested in doing was getting you aligned with you and getting you to tell the truth. And just by doing that, you have an opportunity to actually transform the other person. So this conversation is for you if you're stuck in limbo in a relationship and you don't know whether you should stay or you should go, and you're ready to actually stop bullshitting yourself. And you're ready to be the badass and not just say it in words, not just be a little, I'm ready to be the badass that I've always wanted to be, but this asshole is holding me back. It's just dead weight. Enough of that bullshit. It's only for those people who are ready to look at themselves and actually transform and be at cause of the transformation of the relationship, so that you can either get back or powerfully move apart, but not have to be so freaking raging and angry with each other. That's for you. Those are the people that I'm looking to talk to. It's not for everyone. So do not apply for that. You basically set a time in the schedule and then fill out an application form with the detail. And once we know that, we're able to create a strategy moving forward. From that point on, there's no guarantee that I want to work with you. I got to see that, can we help you? And B, do I actually want to work with you? And so if you're that type of person that wants to be at cause and you want to be the cause of the transformation, you want to take on that leadership, I would love to talk to you. Not for the victims, not for the ones who want to do their little pity party and blame the other person, but the ones who actually want to transform. Reach out, send a message, and reach out, and I would love to chat with you. Thank you so much for participating. Let me know in the comments section what you thought. What your feelings were about this. Let's continue the conversation. Join the Art of Powerful Alignment. I still left him, lost everything financially, emotionally at one point. My ex and I do really good being amicable. What I've gained, looking at myself from overview, is priceless. New focus, new skills, and life is fucking real. God bless you. And you're going to be a nurse. You didn't know who you were before, D, and now you're a nurse. Tasha, thank you for sharing that. Tasha Rambo just separated from a 17-year relationship 2 months ago. My ex and I do really good at being great. Absolutely. Fantastic. For those of you who are deciding or wanting to make that split, don't do it. Let's have a conversation first. Reach out, and I'd be happy to be of service. God bless you guys, and I will see you at the next perfect time. Wow.